So I'm here with another pendulum tip for you, and today my assistant this is the Mystic Aura Quartz pendulum that I sell in my shop. It's a very popular pendulum. And today what I wanted to go over with you is about the importance of establishing how your pendulum says yes and how your pendulum says no. Because when we're using a pendulum, we are getting yes or no answers to our questions. And we have to understand the language of our pendulum. How does it answer yes and how does it answer no? Because it's different for everyone. And so I want to show you two ways that you can establish getting a yes or no answer from your pendulum. The first way is by telling your pendulum how to answer. For example, if I wanted my pendulum to answer yes by swinging back and forth, I kind of picture this as like head nodding, right? I would say to my pendulum, I would start the swing, and I would say, this is yes. This is yes. This is yes. You see what I'm doing? I just keep repeating it as I allow it to make the movement. And now I'm thinking yes, and the pendulum's got a nice swing all by itself. Thank you. And I always say thank you after I get what I want from the pendulum. So to help kind of create a mental clarity around the fact that I've got the answer and then I'm done. So after every question and I get an answer, I also say thank you. And then if I wanted to establish no, let's say I want my no to go back and forth, kind of like a head shaking no, then I would say this is no. This is no. This is no. And just keep repeating that until I feel like my pendulum and I are on the same page about what a no movement is. So that's the first way, thank you. That's the first way you can do it, is by telling your pendulum how to answer appropriately. And you can also establish it for maybe, which maybe might be a diagonal, right? If you want to do that. I mostly program in just yes and no. Anything that doesn't do the movements of yes and the movements of no, I would take as like a maybe or unclear. So the first way is to tell your pendulum which way that it should move. The second approach is actually my favorite. It's more intuitive and it feels more mystical and personal. And that is to ask your pendulum to show you which direction is yes and which direction is no. So let me show you that. So I'm making sure that I'm using my tips from last week. I'm standing up this time. I've got my elbow at a 90-degree angle from the floor. I'm using all three fingers, getting the pendulum nice and clear. And I say, show me yes. It's going to take a minute for it to move. I'll just keep saying, show me yes. Show me yes. You can see it starting to move. Show me yes. Now this is my yes that has always come up. My yes is the back and forth, so I'll do an extreme version. This is yes. When I work with my pendulum, this is how it likes to answer yes. Show me yes. Show me yes. Thank you. All right, so then once you establish what your show me yes answer is, you can move on to no. So again, and I'm holding this, I should be holding it slightly lower. I usually hold it at heart center, but just to keep the pendulum on camera, I'm holding it slightly higher. So now I'm going to clear my field and ask my pendulum, show me no. 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 And okay, you might not be able to see this on camera. My pendulum has a very interesting way of saying no. As you can kind of see, it'll go, my pendulum holds itself pretty still, and what happens is the chain, just the chain starts to vibrate and shake. So my no that I get with my pendulum is a straight almost still chain that just shakes. So no swinging movement, instead stand still, shaking like that. That's no. Thank you. So that's it. Those are two ways to establish getting yes and no answers from your pendulum. And of course, you always want to start a session with your pendulum by establishing yes or no. And it doesn't matter which way you do it. There's not going to be better answers one way or another. There's going to be the way that feels the best to you. So before you sit down with your pendulum next time you use it, make sure to establish your yes or no and try both options. Try telling it how to answer yes and no, and try asking it how it answers yes and no, and see which one feels the best to you. Until next week, mwah, sending you lots of love. Bye.